Hello everyone, in this video I want to give brief introduction to Git and GitHub, and I want to show you how to use GitHub particularly. Before we begin, let's understand the difference between Git and GitHub. As you can see in this slide, the Git itself, Git is a version control system for tracking changes in source code during software development. So you want to see the version 1, version 2, difference between them, you use Git. And we have GitHub. GitHub is a website, so it's available online. It's a website that provides hosting of Git projects. So it's very good for teamwork and open source software. So first you develop your project locally with the help of Git, and you make your project available online with the help of GitHub. And here's some explanation with the help of diagram as well. Briefly, Git is about building new project or making changes to an existing project. We use Git commands to keep track of changes, and that project is in our local machine, in our computer. GitHub helps you to keep projects as repositories, so simple folders in our case, and it is available to download for other users with version information. So other users can see and download our projects from GitHub by entering GitHub website. Before I begin to show you how to use GitHub, you need to follow some steps. First step is to download Git from this link. So I will provide the URL for these slides. So if you open these slides and if you click to this, you can go to website of Git and download Git, and you should install Git to your machine, to your computer. The next step is to download and install Visual Studio Code. Actually, you can use any editor you want, be it Atom, be it Sublime, whatever you like. However, in this example, in this video, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Again, if you click, you can go to Visual Studio Code website and download this software to your computer. And the last step you should follow is to sign up on github.com. So I'm opening new tab, and in this new tab, I will write github.com. So if you open github.com for the first time, what you see is the page for signing up. You just provide three items. So first you provide your username, email, and password. Let's say my username would be something like Coder Westminster. So as you can see, this username is fine, and I will provide my email. Then I will provide password for my GitHub account. And you just click sign up. You will sign up for GitHub, and account for you in the GitHub will be created. I'm assuming you followed all these three steps, so right now you can pause the video and you can follow these three steps, and we are ready to move on. Before we start to create the project, start to write Git commands, conceptually you should understand the phases of Git project. So what are the phases? What are the stages of the Git project? Basically, we have server, we have remote repository, and we have development environment. What's the difference? The server, the remote repository, is what we have in our GitHub account. So let me open my GitHub account. I'm opening new tab in the browser. This would be a simple link to github.com website. So if I open github.com, browser remembers my account. So my account name is Abdul95, and this Abdul95 account has some repositories. So as you can see, these repositories as well, everyone else in the internet can come and can see these repositories. So I'm opening one of the repositories, which is called GSOP. So you can come, you can watch these files, which is available in the remote repository. So it's available in the GitHub website. However, we have development environment. Development environment is what we have in our local machine, in our laptop, in our computer. And it is divided into 3 stages. So first we have working directory, our files, let's say website files being index.html, CSS, JavaScript files, let's say save it in our working directory in some folder. And we want to take these files and we want to put them to the GitHub. It is not done in the one step, just take and put inside the GitHub. No, we should follow other steps before it appears inside the GitHub in the remote repository. First of all, we take files from working directory and we put them into staging area. After that, we take files from staging area, we put them to the local repository. Local repository is kind of intermediary between our development environment and a remote repository. So after we put files to local repository, we take them and we push our files to the remote repository. So with the help of exactly which commands we can achieve these results, we will see in a second. So how exactly it happens? The code, the commands are provided here. First, we write code which is named git init, git initialize, in the folder, and we write git add to put our files from working directory to the staging directory, and we write git commit -m and then initial commit in order to take files from staging area and to put them to the local repository. In order to take files from local repository and push them into our remote repository, we will use git push command. So here we have provided an example when you have some ready files, ready website files in your folder and you want to push these files into the remote repository, you can follow these steps. However, I'm going to follow another approach, another steps, so let's move on. Let's say my first step is to get my remote repository. Before we go to remote repository, let's understand what is remote repository at all. So remote repository is where you send your changes when you want to share them with other people and where you get their changes from. So basically, remote repository is the repositories that you can see right over here. So in my account, I have different repositories and I can create new one as well. So these repositories is available for everyone in the internet. They just go to github.com, type my account, and then they have ability to see these remote repositories. And the development environment is what you have on your local machine. So people cannot go and open your local machine, yes? So it's available only in your computer. And that is called development environment. There are two approaches, two ways of putting your files to the GitHub. Approach number one is when you already created some website files and you want to put that files to the GitHub. In that case, you use a git init command. Git init is if you are initializing project from local machine. So local machine, your computer contains files and you want to initialize, you want to put that files in the remote repository. Another approach is git clone. In this approach, you do not have any files and you want to copy the repository to your local machine. In that case, you use git clone command. Git clone project URL, project address. So if you are getting remote repository to your local machine, you use this command. High level git init and git clone can be used to initialize a new git repository. However, git clone is dependent on git init. Git clone is used to create a copy of an existing repository. Internally, git clone first calls git init to create a new repository, then copies the data from the existing repository and checks out a new set of working files. So I'm going to do the following. With the help of git clone URL, I'm going to copy the remote repository to my local repository and to my working directory. How exactly it is done? So in my desktop, I'm going to create new folder, and I'm going to name this folder, let's say, website project. So website project folder is created. After that, I'm going to open my editor, which is Visual Studio Code. Hey, Visual Studio Code, please open me a folder. So simply open folder or file, open folder. Open please the folder which is named website project. Select folder. As you can see, a website project folder is opened right over here. You can see website project. My next step is to type git command. How I can do that? In order to type git commands, we should open terminal. Terminal, new terminal. Here we can write git commands. However, before we use some git command, what we need is URL of our repository. We haven't created any repository yet, so let's go to our GitHub account and create some repository. Here you can see all the repositories that you have in your account, or you can go to your account and then click your repositories. So the list of all the repositories you have will be shown right over here. So right now I'm going to click this new button. So you can click right now, or in the main page, home page, you can click this button, new. So I'm going to open new repository. The name of the repository would be GitHub start. Yes, start project for GitHub. GitHub start project will be the description, and this repository will be available publicly, so anyone can see this project. And you do not need to think about README right now. We will just click create repository. Good, we have created our very first repository, and it is named GitHub start. As you remember, we need URL of this repository. You can obtain this URL by simply selecting and right click copy, or you can just click this button. It helps you to copy the URL. I go back to Visual Studio Code, and in the terminal I will type the following command: git clone, and then Ctrl V for pasting the URL. So git clone and then URL helps me to copy the remote repository to my website project folder. Let's press enter. As you can see, GitHub start repository is cloned, copied, and we can see some warning. You appear to have cloned an empty repository. Exactly, our repository is empty. We haven't created any file yet. So I'm going to do the following. After we cloned our repository, it is available in our website project folder. Based on the slides, our next step would be the following. We want to add new file. Let's say inside GitHub start, I want to add new file. GitHub start, new file. New file name would be index.html. So pay attention that you are creating index.html inside the GitHub start, not inside the website project folder. So inside GitHub start, I created a new file. The file name is index.html, and with the help of Visual Studio Code, I can create HTML easily. I just type exclamation mark and then I press enter. So easily we can achieve this HTML code. So our HTML code will contain a simple greeting. Welcome to my website. For now, that's it. So we can press Ctrl S, or we can click File, Save. What is the next step? We can type git status to see the status of the files. Git status. As you can see, as soon as I type git status, this result is shown. Fatal. Fatal stands for error, for a mistake. So the error is the following: not a Git repository or any of the parent directories .git. What it means is the following. Currently, we are located in the folder which is called website project. And this folder is not Git folder. However, GitHub start is Git folder. So that's why what I do is I change directory. You may notice that first letter of change is C and the first letter of directory is D. CD stands for change directory. CD and the directory name, folder name is GitHub start. So you may notice right now we are not inside website project folder, we are inside website project / GitHub start folder. And let's write git status again. So right now, will we see this fatal message again, or everything will be fine? Let's press enter to see that. So as soon as I enter press, we haven't seen any fatal message, everything is fine. Git status is showing that I have some untracked files. So no commits yet, I haven't done any commits, and I have one file which is not tracked. You may notice, you may see this U letter which stands for untracked. What does untracked mean? As you remember, our local machine, our computer, is named development environment. And this development environment is divided into 3 phases. First phase is called working directory. Then we have staging area, and then we have local repository. When you see U letter, which stands for untracked, it means that inside your working directory you have some files which are not tracked. We should track them. How exactly we can track them? In order to add them to the Git, we should use git add commands. You can write git add then the file name, or you can write simply git add and then dot. Let me show you both approaches. Git add and then file name. In our case, file name is index.html, as you can see. So another approach is git add and then dot. Dot means please add all the files, not only HTML. Let's assume you have HTML, CSS, JavaScript files. You will just write git add dot, and all the files will be added to the Git. We don't see any message because everything is fine. Our command is successfully completed. So let me check git status again. Git status right now showing the following: new file index.html. Let's compare this git status with the previous git status. So in the previous git status, we have seen some modified files in red letters. Right now we don't have red letters, right now we have green letters. That means we have successfully added our file from working directory to staging area. In this diagram, as you can see, we had some files inside working directory. With the help of git add, we put them inside staging area. What is the next step? The next step is to put files from staging area to local repository. With the help of git commit, we can achieve that result. Let me write the following: git commit, and then we have -m. M stands for message. You will commit different files. You will commit a lot of files. In order to differentiate each commit, you should write some message. For example, this message would be add index.html file. Later, you may add some CSS file. Later, you may add some JavaScript file. So if you differentiate each your commits, you will understand what exactly change you wanted to achieve with the help of each commit. Right now, our commit is aimed to add index.html file. As you can see, after I write this command and press enter, we can see such message: one file changed, 11 insertions. 11 insertion means our code. As you can see, it contains 11 lines. So let me check Git status again. Git status is telling the following: on branch master, your branch is based on master branch, and we have everything ready to be sent, to be transferred to the master branch. So what git commit done is the following: we had our files inside staging area. With the help of git commit and some message, we put our files to local repository. Now our files are ready to be transferred, are ready to be sent from local repository to the remote repository. How exactly it is done? It is done with the help of git push command. Let me try that command. Git push origin master. What does it mean is, please push all of my files to the master branch. We can see some results counting object 3 and something etc. Overall 100% our task is successfully completed. So at the very beginning, our repository that we have created, GitHub start, was empty. It didn't contain anything. However, from our computer we pushed some files. Let me reload and see if all the files are pushed to this repository. As soon as I reload, you can see our index.html file is right over here, and the message we added, welcome to my website, appears right over here. And the commit that we have done, which is named add index.html file, is also shown right over here. If you click this file, you can see that we have added so much line with that commit. So until now, we have learned that with the help of Git, we can put our files to GitHub. Right now, both our local machine, our local folder, which is website project, contains the files that we have created. Not only our local computer, but also GitHub account. Our repository also contains our files. So everyone in the internet can come and see our code. One more thing that I want to show you is how to make this index.html file available online so that everyone can enter some URL and can see this website. This can be achieved with the help of GitHub pages. If you go to settings and if you go to GitHub pages, you will find the way how to make it available online. GitHub pages is designed to host your personal organization or project pages from GitHub repository. So we have GitHub repository with that files. We want to host it. Here you can see source. GitHub pages is currently disabled. Select the source below to enable GitHub pages for this repository. So from the source, I will select master branch. So this is our main branch where we have our files. I'm choosing it, and after that what I can see right over there is some URL appeared. Your site is ready to be published at this URL. So you can pay attention to the URL account name.github.io/repository name, which is GitHub start. Let me open this URL in new tab. As you can see, our index.html is hosted successfully. Let me change something in index.html. Let's say besides heading, I want to add paragraph as well. Let's say, welcome to my website. This website contains information about my academic experience. So file, save, and let's repeat the steps again. First step we should do is git add, and then maybe it's simply dot, and after that git commit message would be add paragraph. Git add done, git commit done. The last one is git push. Git push origin master. So as it's shown in the result, 100%, everything is successful. Let me go to my website, to GitHub first of all, and if I go to my repository and open the index.html file, you can see that paragraph is also added. Good. Let's check our website as well. If I come to my website with that URL and I reload, as you can see, paragraph is also added. So with this video, I explained how Git enables you to place your code into GitHub, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your attention.